So we started how to data table activities like build a data table and how to add a row at the same time. Okay. And once we add the data row to the data table, how we will read each and every data row from the data table. So by using for each row in data table, and then add data column. So if you want to add any data column, that means like now already a data table is exists. So if you want to add a data column, so here we can. So what all the inputs are required in order to add a data column into the data table? So the input is, so we have to add a data table is one of the thing, and column name. See here, whenever you are providing a input, so column name is enough. So you don't need to provide a column where a data column will be appended to the column collection of the data table. So any one of the value is required. So column name, for example, row. And like now while building the data table, what are all the properties we will select? The same here also we have in the form of options. Okay, so allow db null, and then auto increment default value. So if you want to set any default value for this role, for example, okay, maximum length, so whether it is a 30 characters or 40 characters, it depends. Okay, and you want to set as a unique value for this, and see what all the options are available, so we can set each and everything. So this is also they will in the interview point of view, you will get so what are the properties I can able to set while adding a data column or while building the data column. So what are the properties are there? So these properties are very important, you have to remind. Okay, so this is how adding a data column, and remaining actions called clear data table. That means, so you want to remove the data from the data table, so we will use clear data table. Just we will pass as, we will pass only data table, that's it. Okay, it will clear the data. And so there are some important what is that activities when coming to the data table. So you see this is very important in real-time applications as well as in interview point of view. So whenever they are say I would like to categorize the data, where say I have different columns, and that columns I would like to select some of the people where where the role of the employee is manager or a developer. So how can you do that? I have a data table, so whenever I would like to apply some condition, I want to categorize the data or filter the data, or I want to get the details about the people who are having who the employee role is manager or a architect or a developer or tester. So because if you have the requirement like this, so we have to use filter data table. Okay, so in filter data table, so what and all we will, so the input is here, it is data table. Okay, and click on config filter. So here there are two things. So whenever at the time of filtering a data table, see, this is also very important feature. So you have to remember each and every structure of this. Okay, what are all the input data table and what is the output data table and input rows. So what and all is available. So you want to filter the rows, or you want to, what are the columns are available. So whenever you filter the rows, so you want to keep it or you want to remove it. Okay, when matching rows has been, so you want to remove the data, so you can use filters. You want to keep only, for example, like now where role, okay, where role of the company, role of the employee manager. So it will check with the in the column name as a role and as a manager, and you want to put any another condition as well. Only I want to take some region wise data. Okay, any region. Okay, the region would be south, north, east, west. Okay, or it depends on your our requirement. We will use different conditions by using plus. So it will be work as a and. That means it has to satisfy this condition as well as this region. Both should be true, then only you will get the result. Otherwise you will not get anything. So you want to remove this data. So only this particular data. So it will use remove. Or you want to filter. Now you want to filter only this data, and I don't want any other data inside that. So for that I will use the. And what are the while filtering the data, what are the columns are required for output. You want to keep all the columns, then you don't need to make any changes. So if you want to keep only particular columns, so you can define over here. Okay, for example, I need name plus, okay, I need role, ఏమొద్దులే వదిలేసి. So I want to keep only some particular columns, name, role, and then region, and then gender, and then what is that, skills. So I want to keep only these these columns. I don't want to any other columns. So I can define like this. Okay, so in the output table, so I will get, I will create Control K, filter data table. Okay, so it will, the output will be stored into filter data table. So this architecture you need to be remember, because this is very important. And see, whenever attending an interview, you should replicate it whenever they are asking. Okay, so whenever they are asking a question in the in the form of data table, or filtering the data or any related to SQL server queries. So it will be related to data table. So you should be aware of that now how to use it. This is filter. And for each is generate data table from text. This is also one of the very important feature. Okay, before we'll see this, we'll see get row item. What is this? So you want to read the data from the table, so we will use get row item. Join tables, this is also very important. Join tables. And okay, so remove data table, remove duplicate rows, sort, update. These are all okay. So now we'll see some examples of generate a data table from text. This is also very important feature. Okay. I have a some text which is received from the web application. So where we will log into the application, and where we will read the data, or read some text maybe what are the requirements. For example, if you consider what is that, invoice number, invoice date, or order date, or total amount, or freight, or tax. So there are a lot of features, or it depends on the use case where you are working. So in that case, whenever you want to retrieve a data from that means whenever you are retrieving the data, and there is no scope of put that into the table format. So you have only the in the form of text. So your requirement is, so you need to segregate the data and put it into a table format, so we can able to upload the data into the Excel file. From that I want to use that as an application, in the input as application, input to the application. Maybe if you go for a finance, what is that, insurance sectors, patient's name, and vendor, who is the provider, okay, and insurance company, all there are a lot of fields will be there, right? So you will extract those data from that, and you do not, so it will be a unstructured data. See, structured data, there are two concepts. One is structured data, and another is unstructured data. When it comes to structured and unstructured data, unstructured is nothing but the data in the data which is not in the form of columns and rows. Structured data means the data which will be in the form of columns and rows. That is the unstructured. So in that, generate data table. So in order to get that format, so for example, I will use, see, we have one of the activity called a read text file. Okay. So in this read text file, because I do not have some of the data where we will show that, so that is the reason I am using a read text file. So in the read text file, what are the important attributes? We will see when you are talking about continue on error, because see, whenever we are reading a data from that, if you are not able to read it, or the file is not found, so what will happen? So it will continue on error is nothing but, even when you get when you encountered an exception, so it will it will read the data from the text. So it will not terminate the process. It will not terminate the workflow. So it will continue it. So when we will use it? When you use try catch. Not by default if you use that one. So even when you get an exception, so it will not see. Okay. We'll see. We'll talk about these things and the file name. Okay. For example, I want to use the file name as desktop input files. So I'm using this Excel file. So what is the output? Output is a string. Control K. Okay. So in this output can be used as input to this generate data table. Okay. So when you use for when I go for generate data table, see what are the properties are available. Column sizes. So you want to fix any column size, and do you want to use any column separators, or if it is a column separators is nothing but maybe you can use comma is the column separator, right? So whenever you have a text, so column separators are in the form of text. Some of the in some of the cases where we will have the comma separators are colon or some space or some semicolons. So it depends on your use case or how your input is getting from. Okay. New line separator. So new line separator is nothing but, so for differentiate between the each and every column. So either you can use space, or either you can use comma, or you can use some delimiters will be there, asterisk, okay, or dollar symbol. That you will get in the real time. There are a lot of what is the delimiters for separating a new line. What is the input? So input is out. We use output, right? This is the text where it is available. Positions. That means if OCR is used for scraping and get words info, checkbox is selected. Positions is nothing but, see, whenever we see that in the screen scraping, so you will get this any words have been used in your while selecting while scraping the data. And what is the output? The output is data table. Okay, so it is generated data table is nothing but it will generate a data table out of this. So you want to use column header? Yes. Okay. So auto detect types. So automatically it will detect the type of the data it is. And column you want to use column header, and you want to use row header. What is row header? Not required, right? Row header is the row row values. So when you go and go for options here, see, use first row as column header. Yes, we do that. Okay, or you want to ignore the first column, you can. Okay, formats, data formatting options. What are that? Custom, comma separated. Is it a comma separated? That means this is for you want to, if you have the data in CSV format, so this we will use it to get out of the, to generate out of the table. Okay. Fixed length columns or custom. Okay, new line separator. Do you have any new line separators? See, any new line or tab or space? Use space. preview, there is no, and click on okay. So here so now I want to read the data. What is that? Read sorry, I will read the data from the table for each, right? Okay, so where the data is available? The data table. So here the output of the for each row as data table, for each row is index. What is the index out of the current element? And I will use right line current row. You see, so it is a current row dot data dot. So what happened? There is no data output, right? So we will debug it, what went wrong. So this is output dot toString. So if you want to debug it, right click on toggle breakpoint. Oh, so that is not having desktop input files. This is the assignment, right? Okay, so it is in the form of table. So I'm going to remove usually it will read the data from the default sheet. Save it. Just go on, stop this, run now. Okay, Sorry guys. It will read plain text. Roll. For example, let us keep the data like this. See, our aim is, so how we will generate the data out of that. Generate the data table from the text. So this is also very important. Usually, in real time, you will have the data. Why always it is, even though content type. So we will use I don't want to waste time. So we will refer another file. So now we got a data. So now I used a CSV file because these are all the files are being corrupted in the sense it should have plain data, should not have any so I have applied a lot of some formulas on that, and I have applied some tables on the existing files. So that is the reason I took this file. So here okay. So what are the options we provided? So space, let us see, okay, whether how it works. This is also one of the practice. Continue. So we did not read the data. So that is the reason we current row only we got it. So sorry. Current row, see if you have a data, data table dot rows count. Sorry, it is my mistake. Usually dot to stay. There are a lot of rows because it is a machine learning like now what is that input file. So we'll get current row dot. See if you have a data in table, so I will retrieve each and every columns data. Current row dot item, right? Item of, here we have to provide a column name. This is the way we have to get it. We should not use current row. Directly we like now if we get it like now we will get the answer like that one. See we like now a number of rows. See 4000 rows are there. 4195 rows of data is there. So if you are familiar with that data, I would like to fetch only, give me a minute. Okay, so what is this? Daily time spent on site. So I want to fetch only some particular like no values. I don't want to fetch all the values into whatever it is available in. So that is the reason. Dot item we have to use. Okay, this is also important in. So whenever you are fetching the data, how you will read a like no rows of data. So dot item. Okay, so you want to use multiple columns. So I say this is only for one particular column. So rows and city, I use city. Okay. See like this, like now how many, anyway like no, see we won't read any data and like no put it into right line, right? So when you are working on real time, so how you will use? You will like no use this as a input to the application. So item of dot or this is for each row. So you want to restrict it like, see I don't want to read all the like no 4000 rows of data. So I would like to read only only 10 rows because like no it is waste of time, right? So I put if current row dot data table dot rows count is only 10 rows. Less than 10 rows I put the condition like only less than 10 rows I can read. And put inside it. Okay. Now we will read only so why we got an error? Because the file we opened, what is the file we are looking, that means like now we are taking the data from and put it into text file. Data table is after rows count, what will happen? So it has to come here data table and current row data table dot rows otherwise so use on index. Okay, so that index is already is there. Okay, so here index make it as 0 is the default. After this, in for each loop, take one assign statement. So index plus 1. Okay, so make it as 0. So index equal to index plus 1 means, so it will start from 1, correct? And now use if index is less than 10, then only so here current row dot item of mail dot to string. Sorry. So mail only. So there is one more way. Current row of, say I don't know column name. So directly I don't need to use, sorry, current row of 0. So for example, like no, by mistake, whenever you're working on that, so if you open any file, see now, we got all the values. Okay, so it is around only 10 values we got. So we put the condition about that. Here it is like no, only I want to take only 10 rows. So in that 10 rows, so I put condition and then the first row values. See, I don't know, I don't want to hard code the values. That means hard code the column names. See, anyway, like no, whenever we are getting the data, like no, it is fixed kind of fixed, like no column names only we will get in the input. For example, like no, if the way it is varying, like no, always you would like to take the first column of the data. So then we will use like no current row of, like no 0 means first row values. That means sorry, first column values. Okay. So I will have like no current row. So otherwise we will use like no, see, for one particular, see, according to our requirement we will use dot. What is there? Item. Okay, so we have only item. Yeah, hi Manish.
Hi, Sudhakar.
So we can use like no any one of the, see, I gave permission Manish, please like no even.
Yeah, actually, I will take this from you because it's a half recording. That's why I'm not recording right now.
Okay, this we can use it. So that is very important feature of like generate data table from a text. And okay, joining tables. Okay, so join tables is nothing but joining two like no two different tables. So uh, if you want to know about this joining tables, you should be able to know SQL server. So in SQL server we have in SQL server we have joins. There are four different joins are there. One is inner join, and okay. So we have different joins. One is
Yes, yes.
in no, I did not call you.
Okay, okay.
One is inner join and outer join. So when it comes to inner join, so based on the condition, both the tables information will come into one table. That is called join. Say for example, in one of the table I have a employee ID. So in another table also we should have employee ID is the column name. Then both the tables will have a unique field or unique column we should have. So then only we can able to perform inner join. Where in both the table, what are the employee ID is the same. So then it will join both the tables. And when it comes to the outer join, so outer join is having two types. One is left outer join and right outer join. So when it comes to the left outer join, but when it comes to UiPath, we have only left outer join. We do not have right outer join. Okay. So when it comes to the left outer join, all the values from left table and only matching rows from the both the tables. From the okay, keep it like this, from the right table. So that means that in one table I have name and days, and another table I have name and region. So whenever we would like to apply a join in this, see in the this is the left join, one table of columns name and days, and another table is name and region. So when it goes for name and age, so in this table
Hello.
Hmm. So sorry friends, just now only it is connected to, I am trying to connect to my hotspot, but like now in my home I won't get proper network. Even I am using Geo, I won't get it. And that too it is raining. Like now there are two reasons. Like now one is because of the raining I won't get proper network, and this power is like no, but like now we have a backup. Now it is running on battery. But like now in order to restart the what is that Wi-Fi, it took lot of time. Okay. So let me share my screen. Thank you like now for your patience and being in the call. That's what like now we should have like no dedication. Like now if you are learning something, you should have. So record is there, right? My recording was stopped. I have to start it. Give me something. Okay. So now we are talking about. So now we are talking about joinings, right? See, friends, joins, like no, I don't need to tell about like no, what is this join, right, what is this inner join, uh, because see, if you see any one of the like no trainers, nobody can teach. That is one of them is calling me, like no called me and like no talking about like no he joined and paid nearly like no proxy plus what is that training. He paid 2 lakhs. I don't know how mad the people are. So he did not teach anything, and like no, he took 50,000, and like no, he spent nearly. That's what like no, when like no, when. Okay, leave it. We don't want to waste our time. So here I have a name like R. See how in real time it should be work. So here ID. Consider employee ID, name and age. Okay, I have only. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. We'll go for realistic values. So keep it simple. In sheet 1 I have okay. So it is a 4 digit, right? So we have here we have given 3 digit. Okay, rather than we can put it say location. Okay, so consider this is like no, this is one table and this is another the table. So I would like to apply some inner join on this. So if I want to apply inner join, like now in table 1 we have ID and table 2 we have ID. So it will match the records of 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, good. So it will, when I apply inner join, like now it will be applied on ID column. ID can be a primary key value or unique key value. So it will be applied on primary key values. So if both of the values are correct, that means true. These two values are matched. So ID of sheet 1 and sheet 2 are matched. Then you will get the data. So when this, like now it should be of the same structure. Okay, so this is inner join, and so when like now we are talking about outer join. So outer join will have two types. One is left outer join and another one is right outer join. Say friend, you like now please explain the same in the interview. So you don't need to worry about like now you don't need to tense anything. Just like now whatever I am telling you just explain. Like now you will get definitely, because like now you, if you are like now coming from non like now technical background, so they will ask on the basic questions only. They will not go for like no much details about like no what is that into the way path. Okay, so when it comes to the outer like no, see, this is my table 1 and this is my table 2. So whenever we apply a table like no left outer join, see, consider this is table 1, table 2. Left outer join is nothing but the matched rows from the both the tables. So what is the matched row? ID 1 2 3 4, ID 1 2 3 4, and all the values from the left table. That means the first table. So that means, so you will get the output as 1 2 3 4 and 5 4 6 7. Both the rows it will displace. Okay, and right outer join, so it will work in a reverse way to the left outer join. That means it will take only matched row from the left table. That means it will consider only 1 2 3 4, and it will like no display 4 5 6 also, because so this is like no right outer join, right? That means all the values from the router like no the right table and only matched rows in the both the tables. Okay, and the another join condition join like no is full outer join, full join. What is full join? So it never looks into like any matched rows It will display all the rows from the both the tables. So hello. Hey Manish, can you hear me? Manish of Dhanalakshmi, Deepika. Yes, right? Okay. వచ్చిందిలే కానీ ఓ మరి హాట్స్పాట్ కనెక్ట్ అయిందా ఓకే గుడ్ దెన్ సో అగైన్ పవర్ ఆఫ్ సో సారీ ఫ్రెండ్స్ what we are talking about, so we are talking about full outer, so full outer join, sorry, full join. So full join is nothing but just like open join widgets. In this, full join works like it will not map or matched with any other conditions. So it will display the values both the tables data, how many values are there in the both the tables, it will get displayed. That is full join. So here when you go with the join tables, first input to table 1, input table 2, table 1, table 2 and join. So it will apply inner join, we will see practically. And here if you are applying any conditions, joins. So input files,
need app control.
click on save. So now I believe it is recording. So now I am going to use, so for better speedy process, read range activity of workbook. And take the same. So here we have to refer joins. Sheet 1. So range is, so here I am giving table 1. So in this sheet 2, okay, sheet 2. So control K, table 2. Table 1 and table 2. Come down. So what we have to do? We have to apply join, right? Join tables. Take join tables. Go for join wizard. So what is your input today? Like now it is table 1, table, sorry, table 2. This is use control K, inner join. See, I am not at all selecting any column or anything. Like we will see what is the output we will get. So must have valid argument to join. Oh. So here imp id should be in course. Which is equal to emp id. So now the error has been gone. Take some box. What do you get? Inner join dot rows count. So now close this. See. Okay, so we got one row. That is 2, right? That's what we talked about like now before going into the practical session, how the join works. So in like now it is, we got the data. What are the matching rows has been selected? Those matching rows. What are the matching rows of the employee ID? Then only we like now it will work like a inner join. So you practice the remaining joins like now outer join and like now full join. So how you will get the like now output and practice it. Then merge. what is the difference in merge? What is merge? So merging is nothing but merging the two data tables. Okay, so merging the two data tables is nothing but so what is the source? So for example, I am giving table 1, and where you want to merge the data. So I would like to keep it into destination is table 2. So missing schema action. So there are add, ignore, error, and add with key. So this means that missing schema action is nothing but so whenever you are merging two tables, so the schema is nothing but the architecture of the table. So that means that so what is the type of data in each and every column, and what are all the unique values are defined in a column, that is a schema. So missing schema action. So whenever you are merging two tables, if you want to consider any what are the type of data and what are the defined keys, primary key values you define, you don't want to consider, or you want to consider if one table is having some key information, another one doesn't have the specific key primary key or unique key values. So even you want to add it and it will merge it, or whatever it may be, you don't want to consider, ignore, and add with key if you want to add with key values. So here in which label you would like to add this. There is only one error. And ignore it, then add. Keep it like this, and we will go. So what we have to see table 2, right? Table we are keeping into from one table to another table. We are merging the data from one table to another table, and we are keeping the data into table 2. Table 2 dot rows count. I will see. So now merge was happened and we got the 4 rows. There are two 2 rows in one table and 2 rows in another table, right? So after merging, so we got the total number of rows in one table. That is merge. So lookup. What is lookup? So lookup also is one of the very important. So lookup is nothing but in real time situation where we will use. Consider the same example. So I have an Excel file. So I have an Excel file. So like now in real time, like now you will have one input file, and there you will have lot of sheets. Like now one like now for example, like now if you are going for like now report generate or like now what is that kind of some report, so you will go and download that report, and in the downloading report like now there is some situation where you need to compare the previous year data with the current year data or current month data. So whether it is a trading or it is a some information related to the vendor. So in that, so like now you will have a lot of sheets, sheet 1, sheet 2, like no, see in real time like no you will not have like no sheet 1, sheet 2, there will be some different names. Okay, so in that case you have to search lookup, for example like no, this name in the same name like now will be available in a different sheet, that is called a lookup. Okay, so you have to find out whether that particular value will be available in the corresponding sheet or not. Okay, but when it comes to the data table, we'll have a lookup works in a different way. We'll see what all the input values we need to. Oh, super then. So here data table is, see I am giving table 1, and what is the value you are looking in. If you consider this one, so for example I am looking employee ID. Okay, when goes to sheet 2, no, so only one is our location. Okay, I will go for location. Okay, location looking, what is the value we are looking for? We are looking for Chennai. Okay, so and lookup column. So in which column? See here I can provide column index or column like no variable, like no when we create it like no column name is location. So where we need to look up the column. So we need to look up the column in the location. So it is the location only, like no the reason like no sorry, Chennai value is available, right? And output, what is the value you will get it. So control K, so row index or cell value. So target column, that means see this is the value, this is the input data. So in which column you are looking into that one. Location, but here the target column is what is the column name you are looking, the same like no this lookup value such that is also in the maybe like now whenever this is that column will be in a different name, so it might be location here like now it should have some region. That is, so see in this sheet like no sorry in this table we do not have that region, right? So there will be like now whenever you are what is that I have worked like no some regions like no EMEA region, NOLA region, or like no LATAM. So in one region we will have some data, and in that in that data we will have like no there are different columns. So that column names are like no that will be some Spanish names. So we cannot like no I'm unable to recognize those things. So there will be some name, okay, and that name like no in the same what is that in the same Excel file in the same sheet there will be a different column with a different name. So in that column we have to search, okay, whether if some particular value is there or not. If you have that, so that is the reason we are keeping like no here output as row index. We will go and delete that. That is our like no intention. So for that I give, see, because like no like let us consider we have the same, otherwise we just go on like no sheet 1, right, table 1 we have provided location, and then I give easy. So what is the value we are looking for? Okay, so we have to find out the column name. Here it is region. Okay, so this is the lookup data table. Come down. So in this we will use cell value. So whether we will get the correct value or not, we'll see. See, cell value is Noida. So we are looking region where location equal to Chennai, right? So in that, what is the destination column? Target column is so the target column is region. And that like location corresponding to Chennai, that is in this region. So the cell value is, that is the lookup data table. How it works. So it depends whether you can use column index or you can use like but most of the cases we will go with the like column name also. Like, in order to like locate for specific column names we will use column names. Okay, and then get row item. What is there? Okay. So output data table also very important. So in real time scenario or in the assignment, so whenever you are attending an interviews, so how it will work means, for example, like now where I have a data table, that means like now see where like now when you are working on some real time applications where PS like now this is the one we are going to use for further. This is the site I am having. So by like now by using like now scraping the data or like now data extraction, so I will read this data. Okay, so but like now whenever I read the data, I like now the data would be get in the form of table, but my requirement is I want to keep this data in the form of text. I don't want to be like no display in the form of rows and columns. That means our columns and rows are in the table format. That means structured format. So I would like to keep that into keep as a text. Display the like no data in the form of text. So that's why. So here table 1. So output is text. So what is this? Text. See, I told, I believe, like no, in our sessions. Say, for example, like no, by default, if you are open the input file, so each and like no, you are unable to remember that like no, you want to close it before running your in the development. So we have to use heal process. Okay, so we got the data. It's in the form of text. See, employee ID, name, age, gender, role. So this is my output. So I like no, the data has been like no displayed in this format. It is a text, right? So that is the output data table. Okay, so there are two things: generate data table from text, and if you have a data in the form of data table, you want to like no represent you want to generate a text out of the data table, so it is output data table. Okay, So this is how these very important features of what is this data table. Okay, so friends, I believe is it clear? Okay, thank you. This is all about data table. So now there is very important concept, that is, see, I have a requirement like I have a data in my database and I need to connect to the database and need the data read the data from the table and put the data into the table and then export into Excel. From the Excel I need to use as a input to my application. Maybe when I use RE framework, I have to use the in the config file. Okay, this is my requirement. So how can I do that? So in order to do that, just go to manage. First activity what we have to do is, that means first action what we have to perform is, go to all packages, search like UiPath dot database. Okay, so we have UiPath.database.activities. Just click on install and click on save. Once you get it, once it is done, just type database. See under app integration database. So there are different activities are available. The first activity is connect. This is also very important in real time as well as interview point of view. Connect. What is this? Click on configure connection and click on connection wizard. So my data, where is the data is available? So this is SQL Server, management SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, SSMS, SSMS, that means SQL Server Management Studio, version 18.9.2. So this is now I will connect it to, I have configured this in Windows authentication mode and I configured this, and so this is the SQL Server Management Studio, where so we will have a different just click on new query. So here by default master database model MSDB MDB. So this database I have created UiPath. So even when you are working on that, so the each and what is the connection string you have to use, and how you what is the uh, what is that? So what is the connection string, and what is the database you have to use, and what are the table, the data is there, each and everything you will get the prerequisites. You don't need to worry about that. So here you, so under that I have, so when you expand this databases, here path is my database, expand the tables, so where we will have oh, it is slow. Okay, so let them make. So I have a table name called, so in order to retrieve the data from the database, so I need to write a select query. Select star from, so this is my table, just click on execute. I got all this data, so there are 5 rows in this, so I got all these 5 rows. Okay, so this is what my requirement. So, and if you want to filter any data in the table, so I can use where gender equal to male. So I would like to fetch only the data whatever it, when the you will what is that, so you have to, how you should know that how to connect to the database, okay, and how to write a select query, and what are the actions are there, and how you will use those activities. So what is the execute query and execute non-query, okay, you should know these things. That's it, you don't need to worry about anything. So I have provided select star from where gender equal to male, order by, so I want to display the data in the form of ascending order by name, ascending order. So ascending order means the first, start with A, and M N O P Q R S, right? See, S is the last word, no? So if I give ascending order and descending order, so the keywords are ASC and DESC. So most of the I have seen lot of interview questions, they ask this. Write a select query and by using some condition they will give you, and they want, yeah, you want to display the data in the ascending order or in a descending order. So you have to use the keyword called order by. Okay. Okay, now see, the same query I will use in, So here what I need to select? Data source. The data source is SQL server because we are connected to SQL server only. See, I did not connect any Access database. I did not connect any ODBC data sources. Okay, I have selected. I connected only SQL server. Here, what is the server name? Because if you are using in the local system, we will use the server name as this one. And here, come over here. So, what is the database? The database will not change like what are the environment, whether you are into development or into testing or production. Only data only will change when it comes to the database concepts. Okay, I have selected enter a database. This is the database we are looking, right? The data is available under this database. And click on OK. See, okay. By default, it is like now a frame. The corresponding details which is connected to the database from the UA path. And here you have to select provider. What is the provider? This is system.data.sql client, right? And click on OK. So this is now we have configured the connection. See, connection string. What is the provider name? So the output will be Control K. DB connection. Okay. So this is the output. So what it does? So it will tell that whether have you successfully connected to the database or not. That is the DB connection. So once you connected to the DB, what are the activities? Disconnect. So after making all your transactions, you want to disconnect from the database. So we can use it at the end. And there are two important things. One is execute query and execute non-query. What is this execute query? So execute query can be used only for selecting select statement. So we can call it a select statement. So in database we will have select statement, update and delete statements. So select statement. So usually when you are working on real time, you will use only select queries only. So you want to do any modifications on the database or you want to do any deletion from the database. So only our purpose is, see, we do not have any input form in the form input data in the form of Excel. So only the requirement is we have to log into the database and the data is available in a database or SQL server or what is that, ODBC access database. Okay, consider what are the type of sources it might be. We don't need to worry, but you should know how to connect to the database, the SQL server. And you need to know so what kind of statement you are you want to use, and what is the corresponding activity you need to use according to your requirement. So execute non-query is for configure connection. So we will come to the properties. What are the details we need to provide? Connection string. So already we connected we have used a connect activity. So for that, so you will get the output of DB connection, right? So for that, so when connection configuration, connection string is if you are connecting to the new newly to the database and existing connection. So either only one thing we have to provide, it not provide all the values. So I gave DB connection name, correct, right? That is the output for this connect. So here I don't need to use anything. So while doing this itself, I have provided a provider name as well. So in the execute query, I don't need to use. So even name of the provider also I don't need to use because I have provided the existing connection, so it will execute, so it will include all the provider name and like no connection strings and all. Parameters, I do not have anything. So parameter is nothing but whenever you are adding a data to the data from the user, so then only we will use parameter. So first I am using SQL statement. So what are the statement we have written over there? Just keep it here. That's it. So yeah, I'm not at all changing anything. So for example purpose, I have written SQL query and command type. What is text, or is a stored procedure or a table direct? So it is a text only, no? So data table.
The Wi-Fi to connect అవ్వట్లేదా లేదు మొబైల్ ల్యాప్టాప్ ఉంటుందా కనెక్ట్ చేసుకో మొబైల్ నేను ఆఫ్ చేస్తాను మొబైల్ హాట్స్పాట్ సరేనా
So here the data is available in data table, right? You will see. So whether how this condition works or no, sorry, this. So I got a, so sorry, nonsense. Data table dot rows count. Correct, right? Then only we will get to know that how many data has been read, whether it works or whether you got the data or not. Okay. So as per the database condition satisfied, here there are 4 rows, right? So we got all the 4 rows of data. Okay, this is how execute query works. So we have another activity called execute non-query. So what is the difference between execute query and execute non-query? This is also very important in interview. So execute query can be work only with the select statement. So do remember this. And execute non-query will works only with, see, there are 2 types of statements in SQL Server. One is DDL, data definition language, and DML, data manipulation language. So the first one corresponding to execute query, and second one corresponding to execute non-query. So execute is query means only DDL, that means it will work only for select statements. And execute non-query works only with data manipulation language. Is nothing but update statement, insert and delete statements. Okay, so you want to insert the data into the table from UA path. or you want to update any particular row, any particular data into the table, or you want to delete any data from the table. So we will use execute non-query. And how it works, so same, see the input connection is same. So what is the connection we have used? So DB connection. And what is the, so here we have to write a command. So here I will write like, I'm writing just update. So the syntax for the update command is update table name. What is the table name? empdt update set so like which value you will like to say change. Set name equal to, so you have to use a single quote. It is string means, so always you have to use single quote. Where name equal to, I'm just giving Karthik. Where, so on which column you would like to, or which row you would like to apply these changes. Where emp number equal to 12350. So delete means delete from table, that's it. Or if you want to put like now apply any condition, where so here I am giving the condition like this. So and the output is affected records. Control K, affected records. What is that? So affected records is nothing but number of rows has been affected by using that query. See, only one record has been affected, and we will go and see that whether, so this is the one, right? So okay, even I don't want to put any conditions, and I don't want to apply any condition further. See, so here this is the, before it was Akhil, now it has been changed to Karthik. Okay, so update. So even delete statement also we can, so like delete. So we have to know the syntax, how the delete statement, how the insert statement, and how the update statement, how the select statement. So in the select, like no, there are a lot of things. Okay, so we don't know. Like the interviewer asking that, like no, I want to select like no top 100 rows from the table. There are 1000 rows. I need to select only top 100. How do you use it? Okay, this I can see like no lot of in interview questions, and like no in interviews. Like I will like to display top 100 rows, and with by applying some condition, and like no I need to top 100 rows in the ascending order. That is the reason we discussed about this. ASC So top 100, right? Select top 100. This is the syntax. So you have to remember the syntax, friends. So if you have 100 rows, select the top 100 star from, because I am selecting all the rows. So I don't want all the rows. Select the top 100. Only name, comma, gender. Okay. So this you should remember this. Okay, this is very important in interviews. Very, very important. So we have some, like, no, what is that? So here we have data, sorry, database. So and insert, same. Okay, so rather than using execute non-query, we will use insert. Okay, so it will insert the data into the table. That's it. Okay, so we can use execute non-query as well. So we will get the difference is the output. That's it. So start transaction. So this you don't need to worry about this. Let me leave it, because start transaction. If you want to know about that, like no, you should know about stored procedures. Okay, what is stored procedure and all these things. Like no, so like no, this forum is not for that. This is like no, whatever we discuss, that is more than enough. So definitely you will like no, able to answer it. Okay. Okay. So tomorrow we will discuss the remaining like no, we'll see like now how to read the data from the web application. What are the different options are available? Okay, we'll see tomorrow how screen scraping like no selectors all our work. Okay, so is it clear, friends? Do you have any doubts? Yes, thank you, Manish. Thank you, friend. Okay, tomorrow we will meet. Thank you, take care, bye. Deepika. Hello. Hey, phone is right. Sorry, wait.